of 33, I think I heard Brenda share earlier today, webinars that we will be doing across the academic year. So part of what we do as an organization is we help students in collaboration with our local community partners plan their academic journey. And so this is the one that's going to launch. And the reason we wanted to have you go through this first one is because we want our panelists this evening to kind of share some tips on how you can begin plotting and planning what the next few months are going to look like. We also wanted them to share some tools and resources that are out there that our community members have put together, some really awesome websites. And so I really want to, I'm very excited about what you're going to learn today and hear. So a little bit about me. My name's Christina Gregorio, and I'm going to be your moderator. I work with OneFuture Coachella Valley. And as I mentioned, our goal is really to help you, local community college or seniors or juniors, graduate from high school, continue on to college, thrive, and come back and make our community better. So I'm with OneFuture. Before we get into the webinar, I know we're in a new virtual world and you guys are probably experts, but we're still adjusting. And so I just want to do some real quick, reminders that this is a learning atmosphere. We want to be courteous, it's friendly, ask questions, put them in the chat. Actually, we encourage you to ask tons of questions. Fatima on our team will be managing those, and we'll have a few pauses in between to address them. And then if we don't get to all of them, we'll get to them at the end because we are going to leave some time for that. Okay. I also want to take a moment because I know you guys are really into social media. So we want to put in a plug-in for our organization for you guys to follow us because we're going to be promoting these series and our social media. And we want you to share it with your friends. Sharing is caring. Remember, if you know the way, you show the way to your friends. Okay, so make sure that you follow us. And Fatima is going to tell us about how you can get some giveaways if you do follow us. And raffles and giveaways are always awesome in my book. Before we get into our panel and I introduce them, I really want to go back to why we're how this webinar came about. So as Kim and our other panelists, Julio, Brenda shared a bit ago, if you were on, as an organization and as a region and as a collaboration, we want you guys to think big. We want you guys to, shoot for the moon, the sun. And this idea is all about just helping you navigate the college going process, the resources that is out there, the money, the support, and the people who are behind you all the way. And I want us to pay particular attention to this particular website because this is a website that's gonna have tons of resources. We recorded the previous session that goes and introduces you to this website, so I'm not gonna get into that, but please, if you weren't in our earlier session, when we load up that video, visit it because it's gonna tell you how to navigate this, okay? So I just really wanted to bring attention to that. And as I keep mentioning, these efforts are not efforts that can be done alone. So we want to say thank you to our sponsors, our partners, our panelists, people who are really invested in your future. Without their time and their expertise, these types of programs wouldn't be available. And so I just really want to say on behalf of OneFuture and the Think Big team, thank you. Thank you for all of your support that you're giving us. And before we start into the panel, of course, you are the generation that will be forever written in history as a generation that was impacted by COVID. And so one of the things that we've been hearing since the spring, and we talk to students all the time, is that COVID has kind of had an impact on how they feel, how they're thinking about their future. And so we wanted to gauge how you felt. So the first poll question, I'm gonna have Fatima do this with us. Fatima, can you go ahead and share the polling? So the first question is—
Here we go, and let me know if you can all see it.
Oh, I think we got the wrong— oh, is that it? Has COVID— oh, what is the number one concern you have about attending college? We have— yes. Sorry, there's a mismatch, human error, but good. I see the answers are coming, Fatima. So Share results.
I'm gonna be sending it again, Christina, because I think it was the wrong question. Give me 1 second.
Totally fine. It was a good question. It was a really good question, actually. So what is the number one concern you have about attending college? Is that the one we want, Fatima?
Yeah, I think it's that one. Wait, I think someone else is managing the sharing on the other end. Are you sharing, Christina?
I just shared. Yes, I just shared. This
Okay.
is what happens when you're in a virtual room and you're not in a physical room together, right? I think it went again, Fatima. Okay, so let me share the results. The cost of attendance seems to be at 67%. That seems to be a really big concern for students. And then the other one is all of the above, which honestly, you have valid points. I mean, as a first-gen student myself, those were all things that I was concerned about, except COVID wasn't in the mix. And now that it is, we're here. We're trying to help you with that. Thank you, Fatima. So we can close this off. I'm trying to go to the next one. And so without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce the fabulous panel that we have this evening. And I really want to emphasize the fact that all of our panelists today, including myself and many of the panel, the business and partners that are joining us, are Coachella Valley products. They grew up here, they went through the school system here, and now they are working and giving back to our community. And so I want to start off with saying hello to Jose Simo and I welcome him to our panel. And Jose, how are you? And can you say a few words about yourself, please?
Well, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here. Yes, so I grew up in the Coachella Valley and I graduated from Indio High School back in 1984. It's a long time ago. And I worked with Coachella Valley Unified for 11 years. I've been with College of the Desert for 20 years. I attended College of the Desert, and then I went on to a private university in Ohio. My children grew up here in the Valley and graduated from Shadow Hills High School. Both attended College of the Desert. My daughter already graduated from California State Long Beach. A 2020 graduate, and my son is finishing up his first degree in studio art and is getting ready to tackle on a second degree at COD in digital design and media. So looking forward to that as well. So I'm not only employee at College of the Desert, I am also an alumni and a parent. So it's hard to see, but you know, very proud of my college. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Jose. And I just have to say, Jose, if you don't know Jose at COD, you need to know him. He has worked with many of our students. And I know you've mentored them along the way, Jose, and my daughter personally. So please, students, remember names, because these are the individuals that are going to help you as you navigate college. And so I also want to introduce Brenda Machuca, who's with Cal State San Bernardino. And I know, Brenda, you guys are busy right now doing tons of recruitment, correct?
Yes, very, very busy right now, but we're happy and excited. And I want to thank you for inviting me tonight. And thank you everyone for, attending and spending your evening with us. But yeah, I'm also from the Coachella Valley. I graduated from Coachella Valley High School back in 2004. And so after, high school graduations, after CV, I came to Cal State San Bernardino and majored in sociology. And after that, I came back to the Coachella Valley, started working with the local school district, started working with the Riverside County Office of Education. And now I'm here with Cal State San Bernardino as an admissions counselor. And actually now I'm helping students who also want to go on to get their credentials and graduate programs or master's programs here at CSUSB. So I am super excited to be able to help, incoming high school freshmen, transfer students, and graduate and credential students as well. So higher education is one of my passions, and I'm just here to help you navigate higher ed and answer any questions you might have.
Yes, we see each other normally during this time, Brenda. We would be seeing each other in different
Yes.
events. So it's really nice that we can virtually connect like this. And yes, please take Brenda on her offer of helping you, please. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Ernie Rios, who is with OneFuture and is the guru of going through college for free. So Ernie, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Cristina, and welcome everyone. I'm Ernie Rios, and just like Jose and Brenda, local, and Cristina, local product. I attended Coachella Valley High School, and then went off to College of the Desert, where I had a just amazing opportunity and resources available to me through COD, and then transferred to UCLA. And returned back to the Valley to get my master's at UC Riverside. And so across that journey and between institutions, I had an amazing team of community partners and advisors, mentors who helped. And I echo Christina's comments. It's extremely important to make sure that you ask questions and you connect with the individuals that have made themselves available to you through this presentation and the presentations that will be presented throughout the academic year, because it's really important to make sure you build your network. And I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for that network. And again, to the amazing groups at teams at COD, and then as I went off to a 4 years. So I'm excited to be part of this presentation. Thank you, Cristina.
Thank you, Ernie. And I, at this time, will stop sharing because now we are going to go into our conversation and discussion with with our panel. And we will have an active chat. So if questions come up, ask them. One of the things I tell students is, don't suffer in silence. Just ask the question. And I'm telling you, more than one person is probably going to have the same question, and you're doing them a favor. So you're kind of you're doing a good thing for everyone. So I want to start off with our panelists. I was going to say number one, like it's a competition, right? I was going to start off with Brenda Machuca. So sorry, Brenda. What should seniors be doing right now in terms of applications, deadlines, college list? As I know that you're doing admissions right now and you're deep in it. Can you share some of the things that you would recommend seniors do within the next 4 to 6 weeks?
Yes. So what seniors should be doing now is making a list of the colleges and schools that they want to apply for. Now is a time where a lot of us universities have our admissions applications open. So a great thing to do is to list the schools that you want to apply for, and then start doing a little bit of research, especially with those admissions deadlines. The CSU application deadline is currently open right now. It opened October 1st and it will close December 4th. So just heads up, if you're wanting to apply to a UC, November 30th is that deadline. So you want to make sure that those applications are in by then. And then if you are interested in applying to a private university, go onto their website, just because sometimes those dates do vary. Typically we have around, the same application deadlines, but with private universities, they might be a little different. So that's what students should be doing now, making that list, checking those admissions deadlines, because you don't want to miss your chance to apply to those universities. And along with that, of course, there's always a cost to apply to these universities. For the CSUs, it's $70, but we do have fee waivers. So do UCs, and private universities also have fee waivers. So starting to do that research, is the fee waiver embedded? Do I have to reach out to the admissions office? What happens if I don't qualify? So just making sure, to write down those questions. And if there is a problem that's happening when you're filling out those applications, reach out to an admissions counselor from those institutions. For the CSUs, the application is pretty much the same. So if you have any questions with filling out that application, you are always welcome to reach out to a CSU admissions counselor. We're more than happy to answer those questions. And then a lot of our institutions are having application workshops. Your high schools are also having application workshops. And in those workshops are admissions counselors from those institutions. So take advantage of those workshops that your high schools are putting on. Start filling out those applications. And if you get stuck, ask questions, go into those workshops, get your questions answered. So right now, especially for our seniors, that is what they are should be looking into right now specifically.
Thank you. Just to follow up on those workshop dates, where should they go? Where would these be listed for them to find?
So for the high schools that I work with, which are Desert Sands and Coachella Valley Unified, I know for a fact that your counselors have Google Classrooms, and in those Google Classrooms, they post the application workshops. I've attended Desert Mirage workshops. I've attended Palm Desert, La Quinta, Shadow Hills. So check your Google Classrooms, and if you don't see anything listed there, reach out to your counselors. I know we still have some coming up, and usually I'm the rep that helps them out just because I am the local CSU. So for the Cal States, I'm the one helping out, but I know for a fact that you are also having UC application workshops and private school application workshops. So reach out to your counselors to find those dates.
Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, that is very important. It's kindly, it transitions well into Jose. Jose, I know you've been doing counseling for many years, and I know that you probably share some tips with seniors and transfer students on this time frame that they have the next 4 to 6 weeks. You know, are there any specific things that you would encourage students seniors specifically to do during these next 4 to 6 weeks as a counselor, connecting to people? Or I think you're on mute, Jose.
I'm still getting, we're still getting used to this virtual world. Yes, absolutely. At College of the Desert, we're currently not taking the applications yet for the high school seniors. Those will come out probably in December or January, but, be ready to do that. Kind of piggyback on what Brenda was talking about, it is so important because to seek the support of others. We know that for many of you, you're you're the first generation. You might be the first in your family to be going to college. And I'll tell you, there are so many people out there that are willing to help you with your applications, with your questions, with your letters, with anything that you need. The one thing you need to do though is you need to start advocating for yourself. I know that for the last 12 years, so much has been done for you, but the world is changing. And as you walk into adulthood, and you are, one of the things that's going to be really critical is that you start asking and advocating for yourself. I'll tell you, I have helped students apply for FAFSA and the California Dream Act who were not going to go to COD. And I knew that, and they told me that, but it didn't matter. They needed help. We're here to help you. And so just understand that there's a whole lot of people around you that are wanting to help and that are going to support you. So thank you.
Yes, and just to piggyback off of that, Jose, there's a lot of people like Jose and like our team here who are going to help you, and who will hold you accountable. And I think that sometimes that's a really important factor as well. I know in my experience, if I knew someone was holding me accountable, that helped push me and motivate me, so yes, completely agree. Thank you for that, Jose. And then now, going on to, Ernie, I know that during this time for admissions, students have to do essays, and some of those essays, they could probably also use some of them for their scholarships. Can you share some tips on how students can tell their story in a unique way so that they can distinguish themselves from other students?
Absolutely. Thank you, Christina. And just want to underscore that, your comment that there are a lot of parallels between the type of essay or prompt that you create for a college or university and that of a scholarship application. And so one of the things that is really important for students as you're beginning to develop your essay prompt or your personal mission statement for college is beginning with the development of a brag sheet. To begin to take note of all the activities you've participated in, or events, recognitions that you've received that set you apart. And I can't stress that enough. Through OneFuture Coachella Valley, on average, we receive about 1,100 scholarship applications per year. So we go through a lot of applications, but the one thing that we notice among students here in the region is there are a lot of similarities in the stories. Our family stories and even student stories as they're navigating high school. And so what we share is try to find something that really sets you apart. So in the next couple of weeks, it's important for you to begin to take note of that. What are the activities that you participated in within the community? Is there anything that is setting you apart? And also, what do you bring to that institution? So we tell students, as you're looking at the various colleges, universities you're going to apply to, also look at what you're going to bring to the institution, what you're going to contribute, and start to call that out. One thing also that I share with students, and again, back to the point that there's a lot of similarities in the stories that our students share. Oftentimes what we'll see in these essay prompts is that students will focus a significant amount of time on family. And I know family is very important, and I say this every time we do these presentations on scholarship applications. I know that our families are very important, but I caution you as students not to spend so much time focusing on your family history, because we've seen essay prompts where students will spend a page and a half talking about family and how important their family is to them, and the impact that their family has had in their academic goals or their trajectory. But then they wait till the last paragraph, or in some cases even the last sentence, to talk about what they want to accomplish academically and career-wise. And so I advise students, as you're applying to colleges and universities and you're applying for scholarships, spend some time really thinking about what you want to accomplish, your academic and professional goals, and what you bring to the table as well. So spend some time talking about your interests, and then what you've done to help you prepare. So whether it's internships, if you've done any internships, also beginning to look at any activities that you might have participated in high school. And again, with an eye to activities that set you apart, or maybe that you can present a little differently. Like maybe there's a combination of activities that you participated in that help prepare you for that academic major or career that you're pursuing. And then finally, I think it's really important, again, just to close out, your essay prompt, with, a couple of high level items, that again, you bring to that institution, or that you bring to, whether it be a scholarship giving organization, and what you, expect to do with that degree or with your education once you graduate. And I will share, there are two resources that we would recommend for students to use. Just very briefly here, the first one is the Senior to College Roadmap. This is a roadmap that's going to be made available to students in the ntbweek.com website, and it's a little roadmap that walks you through the college going process and just important tips, including those personal mission statement, prompts and events that'll be coming up to assist you with that. And then the other is, and I'll put this in the chat, there's a really great resource through College Greenlight, and it's a brag sheet that they've developed. It's actually 23 pages, but it's a very thorough brag sheet and college plan to help guide you through the process, including putting together scholarship applications, letters of reference, your brag sheet for the personal mission statement, or college prompts. So we'll put this in the chat. But again, it's really important, start taking note of all those activities you participated in and what sets you apart to begin your personal mission statement essay prompt. And then we will have a session in the next couple of weeks where we'll dive into actually writing this prompt. Cristina?
Thank you, Ernie. Yeah, I think all the tips that you're hearing from our panelists right now are so important. The one thing I would encourage you to do and start today would be to start either tracking yourself on a paper calendar or in a Google Calendar. A lot of it is planning your work and working your plan, and you're going to receive tons of tools as we go throughout this evening, or as you go through the 33 webinars, and picking the ones that work for you and working those is going to be key to your, your future success. So thank you, Ernie and Jose and Brenda for those questions. So going on to our next question for the panelists. And I also, before I ask my questions, I'd like to encourage our students to put some questions in there too, because we can go ahead and take them as we're having this discussion.
Absolutely. So, as you're going through and, developing your prompt, you want to focus on, again, those accomplishments, and highlight the ones that specifically align with that academic and career goal that you're pursuing. The one thing that we oftentimes see, in the scholarship application process, and I've heard from my colleagues too that are in admissions, within the UC system, is oftentimes students will list, pages and pages of activities. They're students, and I'm sure you've seen them or heard it. There's like 5 pages of activities that students have participated in. But what most scholarship giving organizations now are looking for, and even again, as I hear from colleagues in admissions, is they're looking for activities that relate to that specific field that you're going into. So, do you have a lot of activities that you've participated in? And that's great, and hats off to, students that have done that. But, have you been involved in activities that are related to that specific career or academic program? Because then that begins to really support your academic and professional journey. You're taking the time to prepare. So on that, from that lens, yes, highlight those, try to identify those or combination of activities that, support your academic and professional goals. And then on the other side of that, as you're transitioning into, the workforce, you're graduating from college, most scholarship giving organizations and even, colleges and universities are looking for students that are going to be, great representatives of those institutions and that are going to pay it forward.
Comments from Jose or Brenda to add to that?
I think Ernie said it best. We, colleges want to see that students are preparing even at the high school level. Let us know about the different activities, the volunteer work that you've been doing that will also prepare you for the major you're going to be doing, declaring, as well as, your future plans for your career.
Thank you.
Yeah, just very briefly to add to that, be specific about how you are giving back. Too often I've seen those statements where it's like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but I want to know what it is that you're doing now. And even as a student, there's so much that you can do to be civic, to be engaged in our politics and in donating your time and so forth. So be specific about how you're actually giving back.
Yes, excellent recommendations. Thank you. And now moving on to our next question. I know when we did the poll, financing college was one of the other concerns that student addressed. And we're also in that season that FAFSA opened and other Dreamer applications and scholarships. And so I wanted to take a moment to ask, Brenda, if you could share a little bit about FAFSA, some important tips, dates students should be looking at to get ahead on that.
So I think that's something that you can start doing now to start preparing to apply for FAFSA. The FAFSA application is open. It opened up October 1st, and the priority deadline is March 2nd, same for the California Dream Act. So you want to really start collecting the documents that you are going to be needing to fill out this application. I'm going to go back to the workshop your high schools and schools are providing. All of your high schools are providing application workshops for the FAFSA. They're teaming up with local colleges and CSUs to host these sessions. So if your parents have questions, I know one of the biggest hurdles I see sometimes is parents don't feel comfortable sharing that information. Your counselors are there to answer any of your parents' questions. So if that's something that you are facing, reach out to your counselor so that your counselors can explain the process of applying for financial aid. I know it's a lot of sensitive information that has to be shared, but it's information that is needed to see if you qualify for financial aid. So start collecting those documents. Once you start, I know Ernie's going to be touching a little bit more about scholarships, but even as an incoming either first year student or transfer student, you can also apply for the universities or colleges scholarships. So just be aware of those deadlines as well. And be aware of where you can find that. We are going to be sending you lots of communication and letting you know where you can find those applications. So just start collecting those documents, start working on those personal statements, and ask questions. Don't let any question go unanswered. If you can reach out to us, to your counselors. We're here to help.
Thank you, Brenda. And I just want to add to the FAFSA that sometimes students might say, oh, well, my parents said we don't qualify. Universities actually use the FAFSA sometimes to award merit-based or other types of scholarships. That's the application they use. So never disqualify from yourself from the process. Let the process eliminate you. Don't you do that. And so I just wanted to echo everything that Brenda said and just add that little piece of information that universities are going to be using it as a merit-based application. Is that correct, Brenda?
Yes, that is correct. For CSUSB, we offer over 200 scholarships. It's one application, but for the majority of those, we will need students to fill out that FAFSA application.
Thank you. And now moving on to Jose. Jose, I know we have Dreamer students. Our organization supports them. And sometimes, financing college is one of the biggest stress that they have. And I wanted to ask you, what are some tips that you would like to share with them?
Well, first of all, for those of you that are undocumented students and you're not eligible to apply for FAFSA, it is really important that you complete the California Dream Map application. And March 2nd is also the priority deadline for that. So while you may not be eligible for federal monies, you are eligible for state-funded grants and scholarships. Also, it's really important to understand that there's a law, and that law is called AB 540 or Assembly Bill 540. And so for all students who are dreamers, and I know that is the term that is used most often now, but the initial law is AB 540, and that is the very first law that help undocumented students have access to higher education. And so part of the process through your application for universities and colleges is that you will be required to do an AB 540 affidavit or AB 540 form. And knowing that is going to be really important. So I know that many students self-identify as dreamers, but many students before you actually identified as AB 540 students. Many students now may identify as DACA or documented, and many just say I'm undocumented in general. However students identify, it's fine, but be aware that you must complete and be eligible for AB 540 before you can be eligible for state aid, which is the California Dream Act. Also, one of the laws that make up the California Dream Act is AB 130, which is allows for institutional aid and for scholarships to be awarded through the different universities. So if we went back 10 years ago, it was very difficult for AB 540 or DREAM students to be eligible for scholarships, but that's not the case now. It was most community colleges, Cal States, and UCs, what I'm seeing is that the process is being streamlined. So making sure that you do your paperwork on time, and that means completing the AB 540 affidavit, the AB 540 form, is going to be critical to you receiving additional aid. I know that for many of my students that have gone from community college onto Cal State and UCs, most of my DREAM students or undocumented students have no loans, and they were able to finish and get their bachelor's degree. But once again, it's making sure that you complete the forms and also that you continue to ask for help. Keep advocating for yourselves. I just heard today from Dean Vara at COD that College of the Desert just received an additional $85,000 for our undocumented students. What's going to happen is that an email is going to go out to students asking them to apply. And the saddest part about this is that there will be some students who are not going to read their emails and are not going to apply. And so again, very, very critical. You have to, one, check your emails, advocate for yourself, and visit every department. If you're a psychology student, talk to the psychology folks about any scholarships, maybe for dreamer students or undocumented students. Keep advocating for yourselves, keep asking questions, and people will help you. And right now, also a big shout out to the four-year universities, the Cal States and the U States. They've really been working hard to provide full financial aid packages to our students. In many cases, I've seen full tuition, room and board, anywhere between 20 and 24,000 that our students are receiving. Of course, you have to do your part, and that is you need to maintain good grades, right? So.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, good grades, some equal money, right? And I just wanted to also plug in that COD does have a Dream Center. Cal State has a Dream Center. I believe UCs do as well. And so my recommendation would be for students who are dreamers to also make that connection, because the resources are there and they're going to be more than happy to help you in that. So I just wanted to plug that in as well, to advocate for yourself and find those resources. And moving on to my question for Ernie, scholarships. I know that both students who apply for FAFSA and both students who apply for the DREAM Act many times still need a little bit or a lot of scholarship money. Can you share what students should be doing right now in terms of scholarship planning?
Absolutely. So it's never too early to begin applying for scholarships. And I know that we have on today's session some middle school students as well, and want to encourage our middle school students also to begin working on scholarship applications. There's actually a couple of websites that have scholarships for students starting as early as kindergarten. So, I tell students, begin the process early. So usually in the Coachella Valley, the scholarship application process kicks off in January and closes around March. So right now, what you would want to do as a student is, again, begin to develop that brag sheet, begin to request the letters of reference from instructors or members of the community that you might have worked with, and begin to develop your profile for these scholarships. And at OneFuture Coachella Valley, we have developed a system called the College and Career Navigator, and we'll put the link in the chat here shortly. And it's the website that OneFuture Coachella Valley and our regional partners are using to coordinate the application process for scholarships and the awarding of those scholarships. But again, I strongly recommend that students begin to compile those documents. Don't wait till the last second. Oftentimes we see students that are waiting until a few hours before the deadlines, and they miss out on opportunities. And as Jose shared and Brenda, oftentimes students miss out on these valuable resources to help them pay for college because they're not looking at their emails, or they're not planning. So we encourage you to take a look at the NTB Week website. Also go to the College and Career Navigator website to begin developing your profile for these scholarship opportunities. And as Cristina shared, scholarships are one component, one resource to help you pay for college. So you want to complete the FAFSA application for those students that are eligible, and for those students that are not, who are dreamers, apply for the DREAM Act application. And then you also have the scholarships that you can apply to help cover that financial need gap. So want to just encourage students, start early, make sure that you begin to collect the documents that you'll need for these scholarships, and in later sessions we're going to take a deep dive into the requirements for some of these scholarships and provide students tips on what you can do to increase your chances of getting the scholarships.
Thank you, Ernie. And just to echo Ernie, that scholarships are year round. They're not cyclical. We put some resources on the chat. Unigo, you can start applying for scholarship as young as, I believe, 13. So please begin doing that. And I also wanted to say that we're just kind of, going through very brief topics right now. All of these topics are going to be covered and explored more deeply in our webinar series that's coming up. So With that, I wanted to ask Brenda if you could kind of share a little bit about the Think Big website, and what topics they should expect there, and how that series can help them plan.
So the Think Big website it's not just a website you should be looking into right now, but it's a website that has a lot of great resources, and you can use it throughout the academic school year. Especially for our high school seniors right now, and everyone is welcome to attend, just FYI. But if you are a high school senior right now would be the time to start joining us in those sessions, because you will be learning a lot about the steps you should be taking in order to apply for financial aid, enroll, and a lot more. There's going to be resources for your family as well. And then for those underclassmen or juniors, sophomores, freshman students, all of this information is good for you to start learning right now, so that you can start developing some questions, start doing some research, because it is never too early to start doing your research. So visit the website, look at all of the sessions that are available. If you can participate, go for it, visit us, ask questions. And we are definitely here to assist you, but definitely take advantage of that website. It's a collaborative effort, and so we're here to assist you. We're so happy that you are, able to take advantage of that. So each institution has scholarships for students that will be attending those schools. So for example, Cal State San Bernardino has scholarships for students that will be attending CSUSB. So high school students are able to apply for those scholarships usually in January. So for example, CSUSB will allow first and freshman students coming in to apply for scholarships starting in January, closing March 2nd. Other institutions have similar timelines, so I would highly encourage you to reach out. But there are other scholarships that you can apply for that you can take to other institutions, but if the scholarship is given to students at that institution, that means that you will have to attend that school to be able to get it.
Yeah, I would just echo the same thing. Institutional specific scholarships are for attending that specific university. However, there are many scholarship foundations out there, including OneFuture, of course, and many others that, they're going to support your efforts regardless of the college or university that you're going to go to. And so that's probably what yourself on. Once you know what university you're going to go to, then you can start looking at their specific institutional scholarships and see what else you might be able to get from them.
And then for a lot of these other institutions, for example, at CSUSB, it's only one application, and they will screen you for all of the scholarships the university has to offer. So don't let a lengthy application discourage you from applying. Go for it. Take the time. It is worth it.
And I just want to underscore something that you said as well, Jose and Brenda, and that's, for students, the importance of, once the college or university, has been selected, that you're going to attend, to take also a look at the scholarships available within the university, but their department, because I also know there's a lot of students oftentimes don't take that extra step, and there are additional resources or even clubs on campus that are offering scholarships to students, but students don't take that next step to research them and apply to them. So I just want to echo what Jose and Brenda shared. That's a really important tip to take note of. Once you've selected that college or university, make sure that you take that next step and start looking within your department and the university and organizations to see if there's other scholarships you can apply to.
I wanted to get some final thoughts from Jose, Brenda, and Ernie on some tips that you want the student to share with our students now on how to stay motivated, how to stay on track given the current situation right now. What would you say, one or two things that you want to offer them as advice or tips?
I actually have more than two. I have so many. And again, if you see me getting a little crazy, it's because I feel very passionate about higher education. But especially right now, since we are in a very virtual setting, this is your opportunity to take advantage of all the open houses, all the information sessions that the universities have to offer. So if you're interested in a school that is far away, now would be the perfect time to join in, zoom into their open houses, ask questions, A lot of those times it will separate you into the majors that you want to focus in, and you will have access to faculty members to answer specific questions about research opportunities, study abroad programs, or anything like that that you might be interested in. So start participating in that. And like Jose and Ernie have said, check your email. Please check your email, and don't just check it, read it. Once you apply to us, any institution, email is going to be pretty much the way we're going to be communicating with you. And you don't even know how many times I get this from students. Oh, I didn't know. Well, we have access to all the emails that we have sent you, and we can even check if you opened it. We don't know if you read it, but we can see if you opened the email. So read your emails, get into the habit. Maybe Monday mornings, check all of your emails. Make sure that you're on track, checking everything and that you're supposed to, turning in documents on time, and reach out to us. Reach out to the admissions counselors, to the admissions offices. We're here to assist you, especially right now that we're in a virtual setting. We have extra resources to answer any questions that you might have. So reach out to those admissions offices. Another thing, I know that this is a stressful time, but always, thank everyone who helps you along the way, and be courteous to your admissions counselors, because we're working from home, especially if you're extroverts like me. We're suffering because we're at home and we're used to traveling, and right now we're just sitting in our office. So schedule appointments with us. We're here to help you out. Don't be intimidating. It's an intimidating process, but we know this process like the back of our hand. We do it every single year. We're here to help you, and we want to help you. So ask questions and check your email.
Thank you, Brenda. Jose, would you like to add your
Yeah.
tips and advice?
I just want to say that, success is yours, right? And, all of you have a dream right now, and it's fantastic. But along with that dream, we need to have an action plan, right? That action plan might be, how do I get through College of the Desert in 2 years and then transfer on to a 4-year university? And so making sure that, your dream is followed by an action plan that is followed by individual steps that's going to help you get there is really important. So as a student, now the responsibility is no longer on your teachers, on your parents, on your family. It is on you. You're the one that's going to make it happen. So make sure that, you manage your time wisely, that you have a plan. And when you're not sure what that plan is supposed to look like, come ask. You can ask Brenda, you can ask me, you can ask Rios, Christina, you can ask any one of us. And if we cannot help you at that moment, we'll get you the resource. But don't be afraid to just keep asking and to keep moving forward with your plans. And success and it's there for you. And your dreams will come a reality. Thank you.
Ernie, would you like?
Yeah, I echo Brenda and Jose's comments. It's important to develop a plan, and as Christina says, develop the plan and work the plan, and just make sure that you reach out to folks in the community that want to help you. You have an amazing group here, Jose and Brenda, and we have several partners, Christina, who are committed to helping students like yourselves. And I just want to take a few seconds here just to highlight the fact that if you kind of see some of the names here, even on your screen, there's several individuals from the community that have been working nonstop to make sure that you have the supports that you need right now to reach your goals and dreams. So just know that you have a family here in the Coachella Valley at different institutions, in the community, business partners that are committed to your success. So know that you're not in this alone. We're here to back you up. You're part of our family here, and we want to assist you in reaching your goals. So make sure you reach out to us, and you'll be getting the links to some of the websites through which you could connect to us with or through, and also contact information for individuals that are participating in this workshop series. So again, just want to encourage all of you to stay connected, reach out, and congratulate you also for taking that initial step to even being part of tonight's event to support your academic and professional journey. Apply to those institutions that have your specific program that you're interested in. Oftentimes I know students apply to several colleges and universities, But I would say really, spend some time looking at those institutions that, have the best programs for the major that you're pursuing, your career choice. Then I would say after you've received, your acceptance and your financial aid packages, then, doing an assessment of the types of financial aid you're receiving and the financial need gap, and then what you need in order to be able to attend those institutions, who's offering you, better financial aid package. I know that, a lot is changing here, as we go through COVID-19 and the pandemic, where institutions are working with students to either decrease the cost of tuition and fees or to provide additional support services. So there's a lot that's still being worked on, as we speak. But I would encourage you to apply, to those institutions again that have your program of study, that and then after the fact that once you've been accepted, take a dive into what type of aid is being offered. Jose and Brenda, if you have any recommendations on that?
No, that's exactly it. So right now that goes with making the list of schools that you want to apply for. So that is where that comes into play. So make a list of all of the schools that you want to apply for, the community colleges, the Cal States, the UCs, the private universities. That's where you want to do the research and see what schools have the programs that you are interested in and apply for them now. Just because a lot of them, the application has to be in a year in advance. So you don't want to miss that opportunity. So apply for the schools now. And once you get those financial aid award packages, which usually happens in the spring, that's where you can start comparing schools, who's going to offer you more financial aid money, if you're going to be able to go the distance. That's where you can make those decisions and bring in your family as well to help you make those decisions as well. So yes, everything that Ernie said.
Yeah, I don't think I can add much to that. It was very well said. And just, right now, don't limit yourself. Doesn't matter what the school is, how much the cost is going to be. Apply broadly to the schools that, have the program that you're interested in. The decision will come later. And it won't be an easy decision, but hopefully it will be a fun decision.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you to our panelists. Thank you for everyone who's hung on. We have like 2 more minutes of announcements and Instagram or a drawing, sorry. But I do want to say thank you to our panelists. And I want to encourage you to take us up on our offer to assist you. We've put our information on the chat. I'm also going to put it up on the screen so you have contact information for all of us. We had COD, we had Cal State, we had OneFuture.